Have at it.
Coach, I would imagine coming in and starting as a freshman is difficult, but maybe more so as a point guard. What has Devon done to maybe, I don't know, make that transition?
I don't know if there's been anything in particular. He's been a sponge. The opportunity presented itself perfectly. When we lost, obviously, Devontae last year. You know, he's fought through competition. Because certainly there's been competition there. We could have started Marcus or Quentin or Charlie at that spot too. So, but the biggest thing is, I just think he's having fun and competing. He's certainly worried about the right things. And his play reflects that.
A guy like David, how do you go about coaching him to kind of slow down? Is that something that just happens naturally?
Yeah, he just needs time. This is not a knock at all to anyone that comes in, but Cole Aldridge kind of went through the same thing. I mean, we've had some pretty good players that have gone through the same thing as what David is. David's going to be a really good player, and he's a good player now, but he's going to be a really good player. But he just needs time. We didn't expect David to come in and dominate as a freshman, and with Doak, and if Doak's not in foul trouble or if Doak's healthy, then that his opportunities would be limited. But you got to look long range, and certainly I think he's going to be a really good player for us. But he does need probably some time in the games to be able to play through some mistakes, and with our schedule and how we've been unable to separate ourselves in games, that's been pretty hard to do.
Is it one of those situations where it's you prefer to throttle down and have to throttle him up?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'd much rather have to turn a guy down than turn him up. There's no question about that. His motor is good, really good.
What's the biggest key? I mean, regardless of how much he plays in the next few weeks or what his role is there one thing you're telling him to key in on while Doak's out?
I would just make easy plays, defend and rebound, and try to get angles and score in close. Sometimes I think that his thoughts are right. I mean, he wants to make the right plays. We haven't seen it in the games, but you see it in practice more. He'll make some pretty careless plays, and he gets sped up. Obviously around the basket, but I just think just keep doing what he's doing. Run, defend, rebound, and pay attention to scout report, things like that. He can help us. He doesn't have to be a prolific scorer for him to help us.
You're going to be relying on Mitch a lot more now.
You know what, Mitch or David, one of the two for sure. One thing that is a little bit different is, and I'll just speak to the game the other night was different. They traditionally played two bigs. I mean, Wofford played two bigs at all times, and we were better playing four guards. And you would think it would be just the opposite. If you play two bigs, that's a great opportunity for us to play two bigs. We defended them so much better, putting Marcus on the big guy. So I'll start him in that spot, or we'll start him in that spot. I shouldn't say I. And then we'll make an adjustment behind that on how that goes. But I have confidence on Marcus defending the four-man. Now we may need to trap the post or do some things like that, but I think that's good for us. That's good for us.
What is it about Marcus's skills that allow him to defend a myriad of positions?
Well, there's a lot of things. He's got good size. He's got long arms, physically, but he is very, very smart. He's one of as far as IQ and understanding the game on the defensive side, he's right up there at the best that we've ever had. And then he's tough and he's strong. And so and he pays attention to scout reports, so he knows when to show, when not to show, when to front, to when to empty. I mean, he just does a better job than I'd say the majority of college players out there, early in his career, because he does have a great field defensively.
Hey, Bill, maybe in past years when Udoka may have been out, felt like maybe you went from small to smaller, but a lot more options this time around?
Yeah. We go from being a really deep team inside to now we don't have much depth inside at all, because you not only have Doak out, but you have Silvio out too. But yeah, we do have more options. Last year, if Doak went out, you're just hoping like heck. Last year when Doak went out for almost half the season, we didn't have Silvio either, so it was just Mitch. So, you know, if Mitch got 2 fouls in the first 10 minutes, it was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? So, you know, we don't have that this year. So, you know, even though we won't play as big, the percentage of the time, but we got enough bigs that, you know, you can, we got a backup to a backup, which is nice to have that we didn't have last year.
You go big picture, the 7 games that are already behind you, end of the season, some of those might be your best wins, right? How do you-
We played a great schedule.
Yeah,
And even like we played Stanford on probably their best day, which was good for us. And we didn't play well defensively at all, but, you know, you hung in there. And then, you know, the Wofford game the other night, hey, considering Doak and LeGerald don't scratch, and you win like that, and you actually play better, without LeGerald in the game, I think those are all positive signs. So, you know, we said the same thing, you know, we won without so-and-so in the game, or this guy, so I think those are all positive signs. We played good against Wofford. Even if, you know, you don't turn it over, you defend for 40 minutes, they obviously did a better job on the glass, which I think that we can correct some of that, maybe not all of it if we play small, but I thought we did some really good things against Wofford, even though the score didn't really indicate it early on, but then that run we had there in the second half was pretty impressive, and we still didn't make shots. You know, you go on a 27-0 run against a really good team and don't make any shots, you know, at least from behind the arc. So I thought that was a good sign.
Dietrich's leading you guys right now, points, rebounds, assists. How expected was that maybe coming into the year?
I think it was expected. You know, he's a guy that just has a way to put up numbers. You know, you can look at him and say, I didn't play very good. He had 23, 14, and 5. You know, he just has a way to put up numbers. You know, a lot of guys you could say, God, he played great today. And he has 8.6 rebounds and 3 assists. He just doesn't, you know, and which is something that we knew that he was going to do and certainly capable of doing. But I still think he's getting his legs under him too. You know, he hadn't shot it well yet, you know, and you know, I think his numbers will, I would assume, would get better, you know, when he starts shooting the ball like he's capable of shooting.
Have you noticed anything about that 3-point shot right now?
No, I mean, I told him the other day he needs to shoot more. Now that Doak's not in the game, maybe not a lot more, because he needs to be close to the basket. But I do think in order for us to run good offense over time, we've got to have more guys be able to stretch it, and he's certainly one of those guys.
Perimeter defense, an issue going into the Wofford game, yet they had 2 guys that can shoot it and they never got on track. Defensively, did your guys do anything different?
Yeah, I thought we did. It was unbelievable how I thought we played harder. I thought we played with more energy. I thought we engaged them as soon as they crossed half court rather than the 3-point line. I thought they caught it a step further out the vast majority of the possessions as opposed to catching it on the line, and now the shot fake becomes a factor. I don't think there was anything technical, Dave, than what we did differently. And playing harder is probably not the right word. I'd say playing with more energy and playing with more aggressively, maybe more in attack mode on defense. Whereas I think we just kind of let people do what they want to do against us. But that wasn't the case the other night. I mean, our guys guarded from the opening tip.
Do you know about New Mexico State?
Well, you know, I've known Chris a long time. We go way back, and you know, if you look at them, they're averaging well over 80, and their leading scorer is averaging 11 something. Is that right? And they've got about 10 guys scoring points, so obvious balance, and their scores are impressive, but the last one is really impressive. I mean, to do what they did to New Mexico, beat them by 35 in a rival game, that's pretty impressive. And so, you know, they've only lost once, and I think that was to St. Mary's. And St. Mary's has a really good ball club, so they'll be good. Our schedule is one in which there's no let-ups whatsoever.
Do you enjoy playing teams picked to win their league? A lot of schools will play teams you've barely heard of the school's name.
Well, I think it's better for your team to play good teams in your non-conference. And the key to having a good non-conference resume is you got to beat some high-level teams away from your home. There's no question. We've been fortunate. We've been able to do that a couple of times. You know, throw Marquette in 3 times. But the reality is, what makes your schedule is your guaranteed games, and those games that you don't have to return the game, and how good those teams are, and what kind of year they're going to have. That's what makes your in the past RPI. That's what will end up making your net moving forward. Is you know, trying to get as many quality wins in there as possible. And people may not look at Wofford as being a quality win. And, you know, you could ask a lot of folks, South Carolina, a lot of folks over the last couple of years, you know, how good is Wofford? And they would say, oh, they're the best kept secret around. And so that was a good win the other day, a really good win.
What does that do, the no let-ups thing early? What does that do to the freshmen, and then also to trying to piece that together with so many new faces?
I think well, first, you know, we've been fortunate, but I do think it prepares you for league, without question. But the other thing is, I do think it'd be nice to not have to sweat every single moment, and that's not going to happen before Christmas for us. I mean, so it would be nice to and I'm not saying it will happen after Christmas, but I'm just saying, you look at our immediate schedule. If you look at the schedule and like go 2 weeks at a time and say, this is what we have the next 2 weeks, there's just not a lot of time to breathe from a standpoint where you go into it saying, okay, if we just really try hard today, we're going to be okay. That's not the way it's been with us. And so I think it's good with young kids, but I also think it doesn't allow guys like David the opportunity to maybe play as much as what we'd be able to play if it wasn't a 1, 2, or 3 possession game. You know.
What's the value of Sprint Center playing there is what?
Well, you know, we haven't played well in this game over there. Of all the games, we played well in the Sprint Center in the tournament, but of all the games, I think we've only lost maybe 2 or 3 games ever in the tournament over there. I mean, that's probably been more than that, but it hadn't been many. But as far as a regular season game, this is the game that we struggled with the most. You know, usually, even though we hope it's not, but usually it's a good crowd, no students, you know, not quite the same atmosphere as it is at home. But the value is I do think it's great to play in a place that you play your tournament in. I do, and I'm sure K-State feels the same way, and I bet that's why they play a game there too. So I actually like the game a lot, and you know, last year we obviously played very poorly over there, and so you know, we'll remind our guys about that. But this will be a hard game, and certainly one that should be fun to play in, because, you know, one thing they're going to get after you, and it'll be a fast-paced game.
You said it takes earlier this season, you said it takes about a month to kind of get a feel of what the identity of a team will be that season. Do you have a better sense now, or is it still fluid?
I have a better sense of what it could be. I don't think that we're there yet, but I have a better sense of what it could be. I really think that we could be pretty good defensively. I really do, and I really think that there's some things about us offensively that we're always going to be inconsistent. But you know, if the other team doesn't score, you're probably going to be okay. And that's the mindset I think that we need to get, which we do not have yet, but hopefully the other night was a step in that direction.
Bill, who's catching your eye around the league early on?
You know, I haven't followed it as close as far as watching. Like I tried to watch a couple of games a little bit, just bits and pieces last night. I was traveling, so I didn't get a chance to see much. But I think Texas Tech, obviously, is. You know, you knew they'd be good because, you know, they got a lot of momentum now, but they're a really good team. I believe that K-State is obviously going to have a terrific year. That's no surprise to anybody. I'd say the 2 teams that have been the biggest surprises to me from a positive standpoint, without question, are Iowa State, because they're missing like 4 dudes, and they're still beating people. And those dudes are missing like 2 or 3 of them are going to start, so they're going to be terrific. and then Oklahoma. You know, Oklahoma's got a couple of good road wins, and what they win in was it last night when they beat Notre Dame or night before? Night before. So that's a game I watched, part of it. So, I mean, that's impressive. So I would say, to me, Tech and Oklahoma and Iowa State, to me, have been the most pleasant surprises of what the preseason predictions said.
How
Could
is-
you discuss your comfort level or acceptance of four guard lineups over the past few seasons? Now we might be seeing it more here.
Yeah, I love it. You know, I asked a team the other day, what's the biggest difference in this team than last year's team? And KJ said it. He said it, well, last year's team could bail out the offense by just jumping up and making a three. Where this year's team obviously is been inconsistent except for one player doing that. So, you know, I think playing four guards is great, but you need to be able to make shots when you play four guards. But I actually feel as comfortable coaching a small team as I do a big team, which I've done basically my entire career. But the last couple of years have taught me a lot, and I think we're totally comfortable playing either way.
Did you think you'd ever get there, or did you even think about that?
Did you ever get to?
The comfort level being the same?
I think when you have Josh at the four and Svi at the four, your comfort level rises quite a bit. So, yeah, I did. The biggest key to me was how we're going to guard defensively, and sometimes it's easier to guard defensively with four guards because you can switch more.
How long do you think realistically Doak will be out, and how's he reacting to the injury?
I haven't talked to him today, but he seems to be, his spirits seem to be okay. You know, I don't think he's excited about it. He's not going to put any weight on it for another couple of days probably, or very little weight. But you know, I don't see any reason why he can't be up and at 'em, you know, by the end of the weekend. In a way that, when I say up and at 'em, I mean walking in the boot and you know, being active and that kind of stuff. But it's going to be extended. You know, he's, you know, I said when it happened, and I don't know anything scientifically, and the doctors haven't told me this, but if he's 100% by conference, I think that'd be okay. You know, so I'm not saying he would have to miss everything up until that point, but just to be confident 100%, I don't think that would be a bad wish.
Bill, you talk about having a high defensive ceiling. What have you seen from your team that makes you think that you could have a really high defensive ceiling?
Really, I haven't seen much other
Yeah.
than what I saw the other night. I think we can pressure the ball. I think we've got potential to be very active, and certainly I think we're starting to understand the point of you know, team concept and that kind of stuff. But us being good, I didn't say we were good defensively right now. We're not. Okay, I think we're getting better. But I do think, and I say that after we just absolutely stunk, you know, 5 days ago. So, but I do say that I see potential there. You know, when we first started watching them this summer and in the early fall, that's one of the things that we all thought, oh, this team could be really good defensively. I just don't. I think with Devon and Clinton and maybe Marcus not being out there as much with Charlie, I don't think there's been much activity at all compared to what I saw the other night, where they're capable of doing that. And a lot of that's just confidence and trust in your feet and that kind of stuff. But you know, we're long enough. There's no reason why we should be pretty good defensively.
Are those guys on the perimeter good enough defensively that you don't even maybe need the rim protection that you?
No, well, you know, they better be, you know, but I think they're good enough. I think they're good enough, but we're going to get beat some. They're going to force help and all those things. But you know, our best rim protector now, without question, is Mitch. You know, and so, but we need to do a better job of you know, keeping them out with paint, but still yet applying some pressure. I just don't think this team's mindset. If we just play between you and the basket and allow you to do what you want to do, I don't think that is a formula for success for us.
Anything else?